Hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and fluorine and terbium and manganese and mercurium, molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and silver.
Now, the periodic table was put to music by Tom Lehrer back in the 1959 to help students memorize it. Today, it's more important than ever to know about some of the lesser known elements that have gained new significance as economies scramble to get their hands on so-called rare earth minerals. I've decided to break out my periodic table first of all, bearing in mind I have no knowledge of sciences or these. But anyway, let's take number 21. There you have number 21, which is just in the top left there, which is scandium, which is used in a whole variety of different things. It's used in spacecraft, it's used in semiconductors, sports equipment, and it's found in more than a dozen countries, including the United States as well. You've also got number 66 on that table, which would be dysprosium. You get the idea. I'm in some deep trouble here about knowing all these different things in the periodic table. Well, a few years ago, I actually visited a mine in Mongolia, where many of these minerals of one sort or another are dragged out of the earth. And that includes copper, gold, and silver. This is the first time I've actually been in a real underground mine, and this is not just any old mine, this is a biggie. Look at the size of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's room for 10 minibuses. And that's all underground. So that mine was developed by Robert Friedland, and his company is Sunrise Energy, and has secured a $400 million loan from the US government to mine and process scandium in Australia. He joined me from Singapore last night, and he explained why this rare earth is so important.
Scandium is one of those metals that are referred to as a rare earth. One of those metals you've never heard of that we can't live without. If you've ever held an Apple phone or any other hand phone in your hand, there are more than 50 elements in there using scandium. And as a miracle material, it's critical to space technologies, satellites, telecommunications, and lightweighting in general to green the world. We need to make cars, airplanes, and trains lighter, so it turns aluminum into a superalloy, and therefore is very important for the energy transition. So it's a really amazing metal, one of the most important metals you've probably never heard of.
And all these metals that I've never heard of, they are all, in a sense, part of this great geostrategic political race to get your hands and secure access to these metals for the future versus other countries, say, for example, obviously, like China.
That's perfectly correct. Probably for the last 100 or 150 years, great powers fought wars primarily over oil. And now the world has changed. The United States has plenty of hydrocarbon. In fact, we're a superpower in hydrocarbon. But the critical metals are really central to national security, as well as all efforts to green the world economy. And our very ability to talk to each other, with myself here in Singapore at 4:45 in the morning, and yourself on the other side of the world, depends on these critical metals.
Right, but this does, I mean, the majority of current reservoirs of these metals are not easily located for, say, for example, the United States. And therefore, we are setting ourselves up for, I mean, it's maybe overstating it to say conflict, but one is setting oneself up for an us and them.
In general, we have a balkanized world economy where every nation is beginning to worry about its own supply chain. As the world, as a perfectly integrated economy, starts to break down into various groups, each group plays to its own strengths in a giant geopolitical chess game. And the Strait of Hormuz is one example, but there are many others. And if we're going to learn to live with each other, we're going to have something that we each need and can trade. And that's unfortunately the great game that the world finds itself in. And critical metals are absolutely at the center of this great game.
How are we going to avoid a repeat of previous centuries where we dug the stuff out and sent it somewhere else for processing? You know the argument well, which is that in many of these countries where these metals are, the processing, the value added, how do we ensure they enjoy the economic benefit, not just of the commodity price, but of the value added ability to transform?
So, Richard, everything that we touch with our fingers, we either mined it or we grew it agriculturally. There's only two alternatives. And the understanding of the supply chain is necessary for everybody following this broadcast has to understand how complex the modern world has become and how localized the production of a lot of these metals are. The United States has gone through a very long period of sleepwalking where we de-industrialized a lot of what we produce. We outsourced a lot of it. We bought Chinese goods at Walmart. We became dependent on China to manufacture. All the air pollution went to China, and they were criticized for creating pollution. But we bought cheap Chinese goods in the United States, and now America wants to reindustrialize and develop some of these capabilities. And to some sense, all nations will have to develop their own raw materials to the degree it's humanly possible, or barter through international trade with friendly countries. And that's exactly what is happening as we speak.
Who's going to win?
Poor Great Britain. It doesn't have too much to mine. It's just an island, and it's getting poorer. Parts of Europe are in danger of just becoming Disneyland if they don't find the critical raw materials. China builds incredible electric cars. It must make the German automobile industry very nervous. And so we're going to see a reorientation and a tremendous emphasis on not only finding these critical materials, but mining them and refining them at home. The Japanese are redeveloping a military establishment. The two Koreas are rearming. Taiwan is becoming a big porcupine. China has a huge remilitarization program that's enormous. The Europeans are getting nervous. America is proposing a 50% increase in the military budget for next year. And the tragedy is that the metals we need to green the world economy, if you want to stop